Hey everyone, welcome to Rundell Designs. Today's video is about market stalls. So I have had quite a few friends and people I know in the handmade world contact me recently about what they need to know to do their first market stall. So obviously during coronavirus lockdowns here in Australia, a lot of people lost their job or had extra time to work on their hobby or craft, and a lot of people have started new businesses. So I thought I'd give you my top 10 tips on how to get started doing markets. Okay, tip 1. Make a list of all the markets in your area that you think might be a good one for you to try out, and do some research on social media, and also ask anyone that you know that's done the market. You'll find in the market world, a lot of stall holders are really quite happy to share their knowledge, so they will let you know how they found that particular market. Saying that, regardless of whether someone says it's a good market or a bad market, I always like to try a market for myself before I confirm my opinion, unless it's really bad vibes, because you'll find that your product might sell better or worse than the people you talk to's product. So keep that in mind. It's always good to try it yourself at least once or twice. So number 2, book into a few different ones if possible. So in my area, I have a local flea market that's on once a month. It's run by the local Rotary Club. It costs $30 to have a stall. You literally line up at 6 a.m. on the morning of the market and you get set in, and it's mostly secondhand products that people sell. However, I have actually had a stall there with my new handmade products and they've done quite well. So to look at the market, I wouldn't have thought that would be the case, but because I live in a tourist area, it was during summer holidays, so there were a lot of people at the market who weren't necessarily interested in the secondhand stuff that was there and actually loved my store because it was something different. So don't always assume that a cheaper market's not going to be a good one. And then on the flip side, I have paid well over $100 for a one-day stall and have not even covered the cost of the market. 3 is find out how big the stall size is at the markets you're going to book in, so that you can do a mock-up version at home. So I always found it quite stressful going to a new market or event not knowing exactly how I was going to be able to set up my stall. So what I find helps massively is I find out the size of the stall. I'll actually tape it up either inside my house, or if it's a marquee size stall, I'll set my marquee up in the backyard with all the trestle tables. And that is a great way to figure out how you're going to style your stall and get all your products in there. And it's a great way, doing it a few days in advance, you can see how much stock you need to make. Then I actually take a photo of the stall set up at home, so that when I get to the actual market on the morning, if it's quite overwhelming and stressful and you're rushing to get everything set up, it's really great to be able to look at that photo that you've done at home and use that as a reference on how you're going to set up the stall. So that is one of my best market tips. I do that every single new market I go to where I'm not sure of exactly how my stall's going to fit. Always do a mock-up at home, take a photo for a reference, and then it's like you magically pop up your stall. The next step I have for you is, what are you actually going to sell and how much are you going to sell it for? So you might have one product that you've just started making and you're loving it and you've gotten really great feedback from your friends and family. Are you just going to sell that item, or are you going to have some other items, maybe more expensive or more cheaper options, to see how they go? So I sell, when I do a market stall, my main product is $35, which I will also often do a market stall special, so a market day special, but I've got things as cheap as $5 on my stall. So I've got cards and mini rice bags, which I will usually do a deal for. And that way, if someone really loves your product that's more expensive, they can still get a little version. So something to think about, try and have maybe 3 different sort of price range products. So when your first few markets get going, you'll be able to see what people are buying, what people are drawn to. That's a really great way to expand and grow your range. Okay, next, step 5. What you also need to do is work out how much you are going to sell your products for. Now, when I first started markets, I really didn't work out my prices properly. I worked out how much it cost to made and then kind of double that. Now, because I sell wholesale as well, I am very particular about working out exactly how much a product costs me in materials to make, how much it takes of my time to make, and then I will normally double that for wholesale and double that again for retail. So that's something you'll get to know as you go, and you'll also get great customer feedback at markets as to whether the product is in a price range for them. But remember, lots of different markets are a very different demographic of customer, so don't be disheartened if you do your first market and you have a lot of people going, oh, that's expensive, or oh, I could make that myself. Don't take it personally. You're always going to get that at market. People don't think before they speak, and different markets have different demographics. So that's why it's really good to do quite a few different markets in different locations, the first 10 markets you do, just to get a good feel of which customer is your customer. Okay, step 5, how much stock do you need to take? Really think about that. You don't want to be going crazy because you're so excited about having a market stall and making all this stock and spending so much money on raw materials and then not sell very much stock on the day. So have a decent amount, but don't worry if you sell out. That's a great problem. I always take an order book with me and a pen, so if I have sold out of something in a particular design, I get the customer to pay in full on the market. Sometimes I'll offer them free postage if they like to pay in full, and I will ship it out to them as soon as I've got that product ready. So don't freak out about running out of stock. That is a great thing. You know, there's a successful market stall if there's sorry, sold out sign on there, and then you get to go and look around the market and see. But yeah, don't be too stressed out about how much stock. Of course you want a decent amount so your table looks nice and full, but it's not the end of the world if you do not make enough stock before your first market. 6, get some business cards made or something with your contact details on it. So nowadays we've all got our smartphones, so you can probably just even print up a little sheet of paper which has your number or your email address and your business name if you've worked that out yet, and if you've got your social media handles, and just get people to photograph it. Or you could even print at home just some little pieces of paper with your contact details on it. Or a great starting place for business cards is Vistaprint. They always have really cheap deals for business cards, but again, that's something you don't need to freak out about. If you haven't got to the point where you've got a business card, or even you haven't got a business name yet, that's okay. Just something with your name and your contact details, however you want to be contacted, just for those first few markets. It's a great thing to do. Number 7, create an email sign-up sheet for your table. Even if you don't have a website yet or a way to send out newsletters to people, start getting emails, and even probably nowadays phone numbers, because a lot more text messaging options coming in where you can do your marketing towards people through text message rather than email. So from the very beginning, please get emails and phone numbers if possible. Just keep those records for future use once you are set up on a website with an email and all that sort of thing. Really great way to keep in contact with people who love your business. Number 8, go with high hopes but low expectations. So seriously, this is also number 9, where I've said think of your first 10 markets as research and development. I want you to go really positive with a great positive attitude as far as having a great time, but don't go expecting to make thousands of dollars in your first few markets. It's really an exercise of research and development. So you want to really see how customers are reacting to your product. People are picking it up. Oh, that's really nice. Again, don't be disheartened by people who go, oh, that's expensive, or oh, I could make that myself. I've had so many people say that to me over the years. Now I sort of laugh it up and say, but will you? Just don't get offended by people's rude comments at market stalls. We've all had them. But you will find a pattern. So people will start to buy if you've got a product that they're loving and that they think is the right price. If no one's buying anything after like your first 10 markets, then you might need to reassess your product or your pricing or something, or maybe you need to bring in smaller price things or higher price things, etc., etc. So it really is just really sort of learn from those first 10 markets and just sort of write everything down, really observe how people interact with your product and go from there. And number 10, have your market checklist ready. So it's really great. It can be quite stressful leading up to a market. Oftentimes, if you're anything like me, you're making products like 2 a.m. the night before a market. I don't do that anymore. I'm a little bit more organized after years of doing markets. However, you're always forgetting something. So I always now have a market checklist. I've actually got one that I've designed that I am going to share with everybody. So I'm going to have a link in the description of how you can access this. I'm hoping to have it set up so as an automated download from my website, but at this point I may even just need to email it to you. But your market checklist will go through things that you don't then need to remember in your head. You can just go, okay, tick, tick, tick. So obviously you want to have stock. You want to have float, which is your cash, your change. So ideally, I always like to have at least $150, and that is mostly, I get $100 in $5 notes and $50 in $2 and $1 coins, but that's just because of the price points of my products at market. That's all I need. And I always think it's better to have lots more smaller notes than a few bigger notes, because a lot of the time at the start of a market, you'll get bigger notes because people have just withdrawn the cash out of ATMs. And then you're going to need a carry bag or a box to put your money in. Really need to be careful about where you store your money at a market stall, because people unfortunately know that market stalls get busy and people will take their eye off their till for a little bit. So I always like to carry my float on my body, either with just a over the shoulder little bag or one of those bum bag things. Have an Eftpos and a charger. So I use a Square reader, which just links up to my phone. I always make sure I have the Eftpos charger and a portable phone charger in case my phone battery goes towards flat, because if it goes flat, then I can't use my Eftpos machine. Bags and packaging. So what are you going to actually give the product to your customer in? I like to use brown paper bags because they're much more sustainable than plastic bags. Tables, chairs, display and props. So because you've done your mock-up at home, so you know how your stall is going to look, just remember to pack all that up. So your tables, a chair, if you want to sit down, some people like to stand at their stalls. I have a seat, so sometimes I'll stand, sometimes I'll sit. Never just sitting there on my phone like this though, never ever. If I'm ever on my phone at a market stall, I will get my clipboard and a pen and pretend that I'm writing something down as I'm looking through. So any displays or props that you're using as part of your stall, keep them all together. If you can pack your car the night before, perfect. Then it's less running around and stressing out in the morning. Tablecloth, if you're using trestle tables or any other tables, remember your tablecloths, because then you can store your excess stock in tubs under the table. Business cards and promotional material. That's one thing I always used to forget at markets, my business cards. I'd literally write my name and my website down on pieces of paper, tear it out of the book. Not professional. Your email sign-up sheet and a pen, an invoice or order book, and then just a little market kit with scissors, sticky tape, blue tack, pens, highlighters. Remember to take a bottle of water for yourself. You might not get an opportunity to leave your store very often, so you want to keep hydrated. Snacks for throughout the day or evening if you're not going to be able to get to food. So I usually find that I make friends with my market stall neighbours. So if I need to go to the toilet, I can just get them to mind my stall for 5 minutes. Another reason why I like to wear my money on me, so I don't have to hide tills and stuff like that. And then finally, but most importantly, a smile and a positive attitude. Even if you're having a shit day and not selling anything, don't tell your customers about it. You know, just be happy, be smiley. How are you today? Don't be desperate. Don't ever be desperate, because a customer will feel your vibes and will just move along to the next stall straight away. Don't look bored and don't be desperate. Always have a positive attitude. Some crowds don't like to be talked to. I always go, hi, how are you doing today? And then you can usually read from there if they want to interact further with you or they just want to have a look at your stuff. Sometimes you can interact too much where they actually don't even look at your stuff because they're too busy chatting. So it's a matter of finding balance, but definitely please have a positive attitude and not get those desperate vibes out. Okay, so good luck on your market journey. It's super exciting. It can be quite exhausting and draining, and sometimes soul destroying if you've paid a lot of money and you don't sell many things at all. But remember, the first few markets are just for market research to see how your product is vibing with the audience. And you never know, some people that don't shop on the day, if they take your card, they might go shop online the next week. So it's getting your brand awareness out there as well. Of course, you don't want to be just doing brand awareness markets, you want to be selling stuff too, but those first few markets you will learn a lot. So jump in, have fun, keep a positive attitude, and let me know how you go. Thank you, and if you like this video, I'd love for a like and subscribe. Let me know what you feel about your first market, and feel free to ask me any questions. You can message me on Instagram. My handle is Rondell. All the links to my website and socials are down below. Otherwise, have a great market and keep creating. Thanks.